Some wounds never heal. And some betrayals? They can't be forgiven. Daniel Cole had it all: youth, charm, and a promising future. As the son of a wealthy businessman, his life was carefully planned out. But fate had its own script. During his college years, he met Sophia Bennett, a bright and ambitious girl from a humble background. What started as a casual romance soon spiraled into something more, until one night changed everything. Sophia found out she was pregnant. Terrified but hopeful, she told Daniel, expecting him to stand by her side. But Daniel? He laughed it off at first, and when she insisted, his face darkened. "That's not my problem, Sophia. Get rid of it." Those words shattered her. But the real heartbreak came when Daniel's family found out. The Cole family had built their empire on wealth, status, and perfection. There was no room for a scandal. They moved swiftly, ensuring Daniel was flown abroad under the guise of furthering his studies. They erased every trace of him from Sophia's life. And as for her? They made sure she stayed silent. Threats poured in. They warned her to never speak Daniel's name again, to never claim him as the father of her unborn child. If she did, they would ruin her life. But life had already done that for them. Alone, abandoned, and pregnant, Sophia turned to the only people she had left, her family. She hoped for kindness, for understanding. Instead, she got rejected. "You've disgraced this family, Sophia. Pack your things and leave." Thrown out with nowhere to go, she wandered the streets, clutching her stomach, terrified for the life growing inside her. Yet, even in the face of despair, she refused to abort the pregnancy. She had to drop out from college as she could no longer fend for herself and also avoid bullying in school. Through sweat and tears, she took whatever jobs she could find, cleaning houses, waiting tables, washing clothes, just to afford a single meal. She did all these till her son was born. When her son was born, she named him Noah and swore she would give him the world, even if the world had given her nothing. But life was merciless. The money was never enough. At times, they slept in abandoned buildings. Other nights, under bridges, huddled together in the biting cold. There were days when all she had to offer her son was a comforting embrace, whispering promises of a better tomorrow. She fought and worked harder. Cried silently when Noah was asleep. But despite everything, Noah grew up knowing only one thing: his mother's love. 25 years later, Noah had become a strong, intelligent man. But just when they thought the past was behind them, Daniel returned, not as the boy who had abandoned them, but as a powerful businessman with a desperate need, an heir. Because his empire stood tall, but there was no one to inherit it, he went in search of Sophia and discovered she kept their son. Feeling overwhelmed, he also went in search of their whereabouts, especially that of his son. When he discovered Noah's whereabouts, he wasted no time tracking him down. The reunion was a storm. Daniel stood before Noah, dressed in his designer suit, looking every bit the powerful man he had become. "You're my son, and it's time you take your rightful place." Noah's blood boiled. For 25 years, this man had been nothing but a ghost. And now, he had the audacity to show up, acting as if he had any claim over him? Right place? Where were you when my mother worked her hands to the bone just to keep us alive? Where were you when we had to sleep under a bridge because we had nowhere to go? Daniel, unfazed, smirked. "I can give you the life you deserve, Noah. Wealth, power, everything you could ever want. All you have to do is come with me." But Noah didn't need time to think. "You think money can fix everything? You weren't there when I needed a father, and I sure as hell don't need you now." Daniel's expression darkened. "You don't have a choice. You are my son, and I will take you with me, whether you like it or not." Cruel, legal battle loomed. Daniel had the power, the influence, and the money to fight for custody, to rip Noah away from the only family he had ever known. Daniel was a man who had never heard the word no. He had spent his entire life getting what he wanted, and he wasn't about to let his only son slip through his fingers. When Noah refused to come with him, Daniel realized that persuasion wouldn't work. So, he turned to the one thing he knew he could control, the law. He filed a paternity suit, demanding a DNA test. Sophia was furious. After 25 years of silence, now he wanted to prove he was the father? She wanted to refuse, but the court required Noah to take the test. The results came back a 99.9% match. Daniel was undeniably Noah's father. This gave Daniel legal grounds to push for parental rights. With his high-profile lawyers, he also petitioned the court for full custody, claiming that Sophia was unfit to care for Noah. He brought up the fact that Sophia had struggled for years to provide for Noah, even sleeping under bridges and in shelters. He argued that Noah would have a far better future with him, inheriting a multi-million-dollar empire rather than living a modest life. His lawyers went as far as painting a picture of a woman who had suffered for years, claiming that her past hardships had taken a toll on her mental well-being, making her an unfit parent. Daniel's wealth gave him an edge. He hired top-tier attorneys who dragged the case through the courts, draining Sophia financially. Every hearing, every motion, every delay tactic was meant to exhaust her resources until she had no way to fight back. He also used character assassination, digging into her past, searching for anything that could be twisted against her. But on the other hand, Sophia was not alone. Despite Daniel's legal firepower, Sophia had one thing on her side that money couldn't buy: the truth. Her lawyer fought back with proof of abandonment on how Daniel had never contributed a single dollar to Noah's upbringing. The court was reminded that for 25 years, he never reached out, never sent child support, never acknowledged his son. The court was also reminded that at 25, Noah was an adult. The court can't force him to go with Daniel if he didn't want to. His testimony was powerful, as he stood before the judge and made his stance clear: I do not want a relationship with this man. My mother is my only family. Expert witnesses also testified that suddenly forcing Noah into Daniel's life could cause emotional distress, arguing that forcing a relationship would do more harm than good. Daniel had the money, the power, and the legal system at his disposal, but in the end, Noah was a grown man with his own will. The court upheld Noah's right to choose his own life. After months of battle, the judge ruled in Sophia's favor. Daniel lost. He failed to understand that Noah wasn't the weak little boy he had abandoned. He was a man forged in fire. A man who would never leave his mother behind. As he walked out of the courtroom, Noah stood beside Sophia, looking his so-called father in the eye. He spoke the words that sealed his fate: "You may have given me life, but you were never my father. My mother is my family. And nothing, not your money, not your threats, will ever change that. Some wounds never heal. And some betrayals can never be forgiven." That was how Daniel and his son went their separate ways. Now let me ask you, would you have done the same if you were in Noah's shoes? Let me know in the comments. Also give this story a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Watch out for the next interesting story.